Meeting to order.
Roll call for the city council meeting of Wednesday, November 1st, 2023 at 9 a.m. Mr. Nelson, Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner's attending by Zoom, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon.
All right. Let's stand for a moment of silence. Councilman Troop.
Mr. President, I'd like if the city would kind of pray for my family, the Meredith family, and all the people who are related. We lost one of the pillars of our family and of our city, Attorney Larry Meredith. He was also a city council, and he was a community servant, has helped countless number of people, often for free, where he could have got paid lots of money. So he had a heart to serve Erie, and he loved Erie. He loved all of you. And tomorrow we're going to lay him to rest. So if you would pray for our family, appreciate it.
Let's have a moment of silence. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you, first of all, grateful and thankful that you allowed us to assemble in these chambers today. We ask that by the power of your Spirit, we are able to make good decisions on the part of the city and its residents. We ask for you to look in on the Meredith family and the Troop families and help them through this grieving process. Help those who are also experiencing grief that we do not know, and always look in on those who are the least fortunate among us. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to accept the minutes from the October 18th, 2023 City Council meeting and bills for payment on November 3rd and 10th. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson.
All right, we have a presentation of the 2024 budget.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you here today to present the city's 5-year plan for 2024 through 2028 and the whole budget related to that. Before I highlight a couple major factors in the budget, I want to relate 3 general principles that control everything that my team and I do. First is our 6-word mission: build opportunity, restore hope, transform Erie. Second is our 2-sentence vision. Erie is a community of choice. We celebrate our rich cultural diversity, our welcoming, vibrant neighborhoods, our world-class downtown and bayfront, our excellent education for everyone, and our abundance of good family-sustaining jobs. Third are 4 principles that control everything that I do as mayor. I am committed to being open, honest, transparent, and accessible. Please hold me accountable for this, because in everything I do, I want to be open, honest, transparent, and accessible. Our approach to doing the budget this year was very similar to last year. Lisa Gomersall, our Director of Finance, led the meetings. Lisa was joined by 2 others from Finance, Christine Snippert, who's the Assistant Director of Finance, and Victoria Montgomery, who is our Accountant Analyst. Along with the 3 of them, Renee Lamus and I met with each department head at least once to discuss every line on their budget. Once we completed all the meetings, we put together the budget you have received. I am proud to tell you that for the 5th year in a row, there are no property tax increases in the budget. But our costs do go up every year. This year, after meeting with all department heads and Lisa and her team working on the budget, we had a structural deficit of $2,787,200. To balance the budget, we moved that amount, $2,787,200, from our water authority lease payment. You can see that amount on line 3111 on our preliminary budget, which is page 16 of the preliminary edition of the budget. I believe we have enough left over between ARP reimbursements and the water authority lease payments that there will be no need to increase taxes again next year for 2005. I'm also hoping that in the next 2 years, we can increase revenue and control expenses enough that there will be no need for property tax increases even in 2026 and beyond that. We have significantly improved city finances since taking office in 2018. When we prepared our first 5-year budget in 2019, the 2024 budget deficit, which was 5 years from 2019, was projected to be $23,189,908. We will continue to identify and implement financial strategies to chip away at our structural deficit. I'm very proud of my team and what we've accomplished so far. One more thing on the revenue side, you will see on page 17 that our interest income for 2024 is budgeted at $1,850,000. We were able to increase that by $1,730,000 from last year's budget because our funds are being placed in higher paying savings accounts. This is a tremendous help for the budget. Now let's move on to sewer and refuse. As I told you last year, we believe it is best to implement annual increases in sewer fee and refuse fee, so we do not have to do huge increases for like 3-year period. This year, we are proposing a 2.5% increase in the quarterly sewer fee from $84.86 to $87.08. That's a $2.22 quarterly increase in our sewer fee, which is much better than $9.96 or 12.6% increase in the sewer fee that it went up last year. This year, we propose a refuse fee, which is up 5.6% from $68.10 to $71.90. That's an increase of $3.80 per quarter. So homeowners will pay an additional total amount of $24.08 for sewer and refuse, which is $6.02 per quarter. The Water Authority has been doing annual fee increases for many years. I wanted to do this annually so we can cover our costs and keep our increases lower. You can also see that we have successfully weaned ourselves from the transfer of sewer and refuse funds to the general fund. I hope you will support our proposed fee increases for this year. As you know, over the last 50+ years, the city of Erie has lost 40,000 people. In January of 2022, I announced a new major goal for the city of Erie, that we would increase Erie's population by at least 10,000 people over the next 7 years. So we now have about 5 years left to accomplish that goal. I want to increase the city's revenue by increasing population rather than by increasing taxes. You know, there's a lot to go through in this book that you've received. My team and I work with you to give you a good understanding of what we are proposing, and we welcome your suggestions for improvement. We look forward to working with you on the 2024 to 2028 budget and meeting with you as often as necessary to present each department's budget, answer your questions, and also hear your suggestions, which we're looking forward to. I know you are hearing and seeing all this for the first time today, but if you have any questions, Lisa and I will be happy to respond to them now. Thank you very much. And I'm going to give everybody a copy of my speech so you have a record.
Yeah, I want to want to thank especially you and Lisa, but a couple of the, I'd made a couple suggestions about just how I would like to see it, and for the most part, it looks like those were accommodated. You know, particularly like planning a neighborhood was something that had been on Public Works by ordinance. It was created as its own department, and it's been kind of stuck under your office on page 4 of the wrap up for the last couple years, which I didn't properly like sift it out and align with how the ordinances are. So, I'd suggested that. I think back in May, we passed a resolution suggesting such. And so I appreciate seeing that reflected for the most part in this budget. I think it'll be a lot easier for us to sift through being able to reflect on that.
Good, thank you. If there's no other questions, now I look forward to working with you over the
Mr.
next.
Mayor, you
Yes,
did say you met with all the departments.
yes.
Did they cut anything from their budgets to get us closer to revenue expenditure?
Some did, but some also had salary increases and things like that to deal with. So it was, yes, some people did cut their budgets, so.
Thank you.
Yep. You'll learn more about that in the coming weeks. So thanks very much. Enjoyed being here with you, and look forward to working with you on the budget going forward.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone here for repository sales? Do we have anyone here for repository sales? Do we have anyone here for repository sales? Moving on to public comments. If you would like to sign in so that we have information to get a hold of you by, if you could offer us your name and municipality. Addresses are not going to be enforced. You have 5 minutes to come to the podium, and if you could get started, that'd be.
I don't know if it's the order that's on that sheet.
No, it's just order that as they come to the mic.
Sign in first.
Well, not too.
So good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Joseph Leone, and I was born, raised, educated, work, married, run my business in Erie, own commercial real estate in Erie. I'm a second-time homeowner in the city of Erie. As a matter of fact, it's the second home that my wife and I chose in Glenwood. Our first home was in Glenwood. Our second home is in Glenwood. That's what brings me here today. I'm very familiar with that neighborhood. As a teenager, back in the 80s, several friends who lived in there, so I've been very familiar with that area for 35 years. And something happened. I'm a very proud resident of Erie. And something happened over the past week that is really causing me to question how proud I am of Erie. So on October 24th, there was a posting on our Glenwood Association website that stated there was a meeting about an Erie Zoo trail. Never heard of this, never knew what this was. So the meeting was in 48 hours on October 26th at the Glenwood Methodist Church at an odd time of 5 o'clock. I was able to arrange my schedule on short-term notice to attend that meeting at 5 o'clock. So as the meeting goes, the zoo came up with this idea to do a bike activities, walking, running trail. And they went to PennDOT, who gave preliminary funding to study this, who then hired McCormick Taylor civil engineers, who then, out of Pittsburgh, who then consulted and hired urban engineers here in Erie. So as the meeting goes, they start with the trail starting on West 38th and Cherry, trail going south, crossing through Glenwood subdivision, down onto Glenwood Park Avenue, through Glenwood Park, owned by the city, up to 38th Street, and then finally, a little 1/8 mile of it involves the zoo property. Now, as a matter of record, the information that they handed out, matter of record, on 6/22, city, county, and state officials were engaged on this. On August 3rd, the mayor was engaged. On August 24th, there was a city council study session which occurred right here, which you can watch the videotape. Now, Ironically, we have a city council member, a county council member, and a state representative residing in our subdivision. We were not informed by any of them until 48 hours before that meeting that occurred on 10/26, and all this preliminary planning had went on. And when I was at that meeting, I was stunned at the relatively few people that were there. We have over 250 homes in our subdivision. We have over 600 residents, and there was a handful of people there. And I couldn't understand why. And then this all sort of unfolds. So I would ask you to watch minute 13, it's an hour-long meeting, of the August 24th meeting. Minute 13, the urban engineers, there was two gentlemen, stated that, minute 13, stated that they contacted our subdivision president through email. I have an email from him, and he says he was never contacted to inform us of this trail. At minute 15, council requests door hangers because they had concerns that there wasn't enough public engagement because the urban engineer, I believe, quote unquote, said he laid an egg with getting the word out and getting people to engage, laid an egg. Minute 15, council requests door hangers be put on every house in Glenwood, 250. He agreed and made a note on his paper. Minute 13. Minute 30, there is a discussion that states this was brought about and talked over with state representative who lives in our neighborhood and their office. When the state representative was contacted about this, he said it was a sidewalk replacement, minimized it to a sidewalk replacement. This is not a sidewalk replacement. There are some sidewalks that may get replaced, but this is not a sidewalk replacement. I tried to look up if PennDOT actually funds sidewalk replacements, and I could not find that. Now, at minute 48, could I have one more minute, please?
I'll grant you that.
Thank you. At minute 48, council is on record of telling the urban engineers, I'm on your side, you know that. Minute 48, please watch that. This form was supposed to be sent back to McCormick Taylor with public feedback. Nobody has this form. Nobody has this form. That is going to be the end of the comments. I've lost faith in McCormick. I've lost faith in urban engineers. I hope I'm not losing faith in council with that comment. I think something else needs to be done to get the public engaged on this. I don't think they understand the impacts of this in our neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Morning,
My
Judy.
name is Georgianne Smith. I reside at East 20th Street. I purchased my house in 1986. Been there 37 years. In the last 5 years, I have to make this real short because I only have 5 minutes, but it's been 5 years that I'm trying to compact in 5 minutes. All I want to know is I have took all the chain of commands, talked to several council members, had them come out, and I'm still in the same place. The neighbor, about 5 years ago when they moved in the house, I bought that house, they put a link fence up in between our property. Now, if you know, off of Buffalo Road where we got what the people getting ready to do all the remodel and stuff, I'm right below that. The house is this close together. I got this much property. Like I say, I got a couple of council people have been there. On the fence, where I'm having an issue with is I need people to explain to me what is allowed to be placed on the fence. I don't have a problem with cameras. I don't have a problem with signs as long as it's on your side of the fence. Well, that's not the case. I got 5 cameras right down my walkway when I'm trying to walk down to clean my property over there that she placed on this side in my property space of the link fence. I have signs that she had made with guns pointing at me. derogatory stuff saying, oh, you're gonna need more than prayer if you do this and if you touch my fence, or you do this and you do that. When I tell you for 5 years I've been fighting this, I've spent $8,000 in attorney fees, and I'm still here where nobody can seem to give me what is required or what is allowed to be put on the fence. This is what I'm saying. Nobody wants to do anything with this. I have talked to from representatives to everybody on down, and I do not know what the situation is that this can't be handled. I've never in my life, I've been here, I'm 60 some years and I ain't gonna say it all, but I'm in the middle of 60. And I have never seen anything like this before in my life, to have to live under these conditions, okay? I talked to Andy Zimmerman. I've been out there. As a matter of fact, just recently he was there because the link fence is weak. She got 3 bull mastiffs that she let run right there by my property where I have to walk to. So then they hit in the fence. I'm thinking the fence gonna come down. Andy was there just about, like I say, well, he done been there 3 times. The last time him and her was literally, I got it on camera, arguing because she's telling him what she's not gonna do. He's telling her she need to stabilize that and still can't say what is allowed on the fence. Now, I don't care about the cameras. You can put them on your house like, I got cameras everywhere too. Put them on your house like I did mine. I didn't put nothing on your property, nothing on my front fence to face your house, none of that. I love cameras because I can see everything and everybody can see me, okay? So my problem is where she have the cameras. My problem is that fence because more and more is going there. She got 2-sided hooks on the fence. Half the other side of the hook coming into my side is way out here. I got a duck to get through my space because it's really to clean up over there. I have witnesses here. People have seen it. All I'm trying to find out, somebody please let me know what is allowed to be on the fence facing your neighbor, because it's not neighborly for you to be able to put stuff on your fence on my side in my property space. And it's okay, and it's getting more and more because she's telling them what she's not gonna do, and she keeps adding more stuff, adding more stuff. I can't even get through my little space over there. The houses are close. So I'm here today to find out where do I get the correct information of the ordinance of where and what can be placed on a fence and in my property space. I shouldn't have to walk down my walk and I got 5 little lights jumping on at me in my space. That doesn't make sense. Okay, yes, I have cameras, and she does too all over the house too. And you can put them on your fence facing on your side though. I have no problem with that. So here, that's what I'm here for today. Can somebody direct me or connect me to the right people? Because I have talked to people and I have not, Andy, everybody upstairs, there's people in this whole building knows about this situation. I just need this fixed because, like I say, I'm threatened by them dogs now because the fence is weak and they hitting on it, they bamming on it when I'm trying to go clean up. So that's what I'm here for. Somebody please find out what is okay. If she's okay to have them fence over there on my side, so be it. But I need somebody to send me a letter, let me know that they've checked it out and she can do this here, and then I can do more than what I've done. More than $8,000 worth of work, 2 surveys on my property, and I'm still with this.
I have your phone number. I'll be in touch.
Please do. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, City Council. After hearing them 2 speak, I'm here almost in the same capacity, but I think you need to hear them cry. I don't see how y'all could not hear that. I mean, I'm here about slumlords, really. I'm here.
Name and residency, please.
Say that again?
Your name and your
David
residency.
Earl Stepp. Yeah, they talking. Okay. Now, after hearing them, I have to go back to what my pastor had taught me. And I look back into chapter 16 of Revelation, and I see John standing on the island of Patmos, and he looked up and hears a voice saying, "Behold, all things are new, former things are passed away." And with this newness with me, I'm starting to question a lot of things I see for the poor people. I'm poor. And to hear that woman and that gentleman talk about things being done to them when they had other agreements made. My agreement was with my landlord to do certain things he won't do. And I've been there 7 years. And I've been complaining about this problem for 3 years. The land switched hands. This new one don't want to do nothing. So today I decided to make a stand. And I called here on the 16th, and God bless me. They told me about a landlord-tenant thing y'all had done. And just like the first guy, I wish I had the access to what he had. He had minutes. And I don't have minutes to that hearing y'all gave about the landlord. And you made it clear how you said it to me. You said, we talked to the slumlord. I'd rather you would have said the truth. We talked to the landlord. Did you ever take any of these complaintees who have these complaints before at them hearings? Because you're sending somebody to represent me. I don't know if they represent me 100% if I'm not there. And like I said, I got a bad past, but with this newness, I'm coming out clean. I'm having a problem with the dental thing, but that's another question right now. I just want to live. And I know y'all must be depressed all this summer, seeing people just walking down the street with all their belongings, camping out in the park. Some of y'all probably say, oh, it's summertime. But the heart of it is, these people are hurting. Some of them choose to live like that. Don't get me wrong, some of them do. Well, I'm crying out, I need help. And I mean, I don't really need the help. Like the woman say, hear me speak, you know? Could you imagine that woman just walking home with them master bulldog tearing on that fence? Y'all hear it every day on the news. Them pet bulls, y'all have insurance policies that don't allow people to have them dogs unless they have insurance. But good is insurance this morning losing their life. But back to me. After hearing them, I have to say they all is doing better than us poor. I ain't saying they poor, they just doing better. I'm still starting now, 7 years, to being the best person I could be. But within this last year, I've been trying to be the cleanest, respectful. That's why I've been trying to get all things new. It's a newness. Y'all should try this newness with me, really. Look, I mean, y'all see it every day. Y'all come in the summer. Y'all pull up, y'all walked up in the door. Y'all see them every day. Well, y'all know what I'm talking about. God bless you. God have mercy.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, council and mayor representatives. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I live in the city of Erie. I wanted to extend my sympathy to the Larry Meredith family and propose that you put some type of historical picture and placard up at City Hall. As I travel, I like to go to City Hall and historical places and read about the significant people that played an important part in their city. And we have something for Mario Bagnoni here. But with Larry Meredith being the first African American city council person elected into office, and he was the president and then continued his service with his degree as a lawyer for the city of Erie, it would be very appropriate to put something in our city hall where people could come and read about it, or outside of City Hall. I really think that the history is so important, and it will be a nice addition. I was away over the weekend to South Carolina for a wedding, and as I was driving, we noticed an exodus. So many people had these mobile homes, and it was quite interesting. If I were a kid, I'd count them, but I didn't. But I was wondering if we have an ordinance about where you leave your car if you're a snowbird. Like, you don't want to leave it in the street because, you know, of plowing situations. And it would be something to look up, that if not something in place, that people who go south, that they should make sure their car's not left in the street while they're away. Last month, there was a gentleman who spoke about a woman who was unhoused, and I tried to go to her former residence, but with privacy laws and things, of course, they couldn't give me any information. But I heard last week that she is out in the streets, and I'm concerned about the weather coming up, that all people should have a place to live in the evening, especially. So I hope that we have all the housing taken care of for people who are out on the streets before the weather gets too vicious. Election day is November 7th. I hope everyone does their civic duty and votes. And concerning the budget, I hope that all due diligence is paid. I always think of my father. He raised 5 of us, and he always said, what I do for one, I have to do for everyone. So look into all the different departments and things like that, because everyone should be treated equally. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Moving on to ordinances for final passage. These guys have been doing that to me every meeting.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Pastor Evans. I reside at 628 East 19th Street. I've been there for several decades. I want to thank you all for allowing me to say something about what I want to talk about. I'm not a extemporaneous speaker, but I have a problem with the building that we purchased a couple years ago, and it needs renovation. I would like to read to you the purpose of why we are here. I have a couple of copies if anyone wants to follow along with me. Thank you.
Thanks.
This program is to Feed the Family Ministry, 2201 Reed Street, here in Erie. To community leaders, advocates, and citizens. My mission for the Feed the Family Ministry is to help the people in need. People need people, and people need help. I am my brother's keeper. I was called into the ministry by God to help people. That is, to feed the sheep and the lambs with spiritual food and word of God, and with the assistance of physical food and clothing. A food pantry is a need for the people. It's not what God can do for us, it's what we can do for our community. There are senior women with children who need sheltering. I have a 9,481 square feet building that can be used for sheltering, but it is in need of renovation and restoration. There are children in school that require extra help with their schoolwork. There are young adults and adults who need their GED, also for tutoring, either senior children or an area for small groups. In order for this ministry to be successful, we need monetary assistance. Photos are enclosed for your review on what renovations are needed to assist you in your decision making. In order to make all this happen, we need to say thank you for listening to us today, because we need grants. I have a proposal, and I have been getting proposals on what it costs to get some of the work done. This is the building. It doesn't look like this now. I'm sorry, sir. That is just a copy of one of the proposals. The roof of that building is terrible. It need to work. The sidings are coming off. Inside, a lot of work need to be done there. We don't have the money, but you do. Grants. I don't know nothing about grants. I need help. When they're coming out to be applications, filling them out, I know nothing about it. So I hope you all can lead me to somewhere that we can get some money to help our city. People need us. The photos are with the assessment office. I forgot to take them with me when I was there on our last meeting for 501c3. So we ask you to help me in the city to do something for our people. I'm open for easy questions.
We typically don't do questions during. We typically don't do questions during public comments. Just an opportunity for you to make comments. Did you sign in with your information in the back?
Yes.
All right. We'll see if someone's following up with you.
Okay.
Any other public comments?
May I have the proposal?
Oh, sure.
You can keep the others. Just to the proposal. If you need that. Okay. Okay. Do you need it? Okay. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Moving on to ordinances for final passage.
Council file number 16394, official ordinance 69/2023, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $112,950 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof, a contribution from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania acting through the Department of Community and Economic Development for the Strategic Management Program. Sponsored by Mr. Nelson, seconded by Ms. Flores, the Council File Bill Ordinance number 16394, and now known as Official File Ordinance 69/2023, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council pass Official File Ordinance 69/2023 by yea 7, nay 0. Council File number 16395, an ordinance vacating the right-of-way of an unimproved alley on the southeast corner of the intersection of West 20th and Plum by Justin Cree of CT Consultants, Inc., on behalf of Leon Construction. Sponsored by Mr. Keys, seconded by Ms. Faulkner, the Council File Bill Council File Ordinance Bill number 16395, and now known as Official File Ordinance 70/2023, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson.
No.
City Council pass Official File Ordinance by yea 6, nays 1. Ordinances for first reading. Council File number 16397, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $303,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. This is a contribution from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania acting through the Department of Community and Economic Development for police vehicles and e-bikes. Sponsored by Ms. Faulkner, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski, the Council File Ordinance number 16397 having been read is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16397 by yea 7, nay 0 on first reading. Council File number 16398, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $200 from appropriated and anticipated revenue from donations made by Value Home Center. Sponsored by Ms. Faulkner, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. The Council File Ordinance Bill number 16398 have been read is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16398 by yea 7, nay 0 on first reading. Council File number 16401, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $85,015 from unappropriated and anticipated revenue and providing for the expenditure thereof. This is a 2023 Justice Assistance Grant. Sponsored by Ms. Faulkner, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. The Council File Ordinance number 16401 have been read is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16401 by yea 7, nay 0 on first reading. Council File number 16402, an ordinance amending the following sections of Article 527, impounding of vehicles to reflect the present duties, obligations, and powers of the Towing Review Board, and to reflect the present process to appeal any parking, towing, and impounding charges paid under protest before the Towing Review Board. Sponsored by Ms. Faulkner, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski, that Council File Ordinance number 16402 have been read is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16402 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Mr. President, this takes us to new business. I'd like to note that number 2 of new business was pulled by the sponsor. It's not for consideration.
Move the balance.
Second, move the balance.
Any separations? No separations? Moving the balance of the agenda, Mr. Brzezinski, Ms. Faulkner, Ms. Flores, Mr. Keys, Mr. Troop, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Nelson. Yeas 7, nays 0. This takes us to committee reports.
Bo, do you want to start? Is that all right?
Mr. President, I don't have a report today. Thank you.
Mr. Witherspoon?
Thank you, Mr. President. No official report, but it's good to be back here on the dais. I want to thank all my colleagues and members of the administration for their get well notices, and especially to Kathy Schaaf. If you need chili, call Kathy. She makes the best chili there is. And if you need spaghetti sauce, call Lori. So they kept me well fed. But and to many of the citizens that called and sent cards, I appreciate it, and I thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Keys?
No report today.
Ms. Flores?
We have a blighted property meeting coming up on November 8th, and then the next EMTA meeting is the 27th. Those are through Zoom, so you can register and follow along to the public meetings so you know what's going on with these departments of the EMTA and then the blighted property. Today is the 1st of November, which in Mexican culture is Day of the Dead, Dia de la Muerte. So in our culture, we honor our dead and we put up pictures and offerings to our ancestors that have passed. So as the first Latina elected to Erie City Council, I sympathize with Mo and his family for losing their Uncle Larry, who was such a pillar in our community and who was the first African American elected to Erie City Council. So I would second any motion to get a plaque put up for him, because we do have to honor our history so that the future generations know what came before them. So that's all I have to report. Everyone be safe with the winter weather changing. Make sure you give yourself enough time to drive safely. Thank you.
Mr. Brzezinski?
I guess I better have a report so the president doesn't pick on me. We can now talk about the Port Authority. It's pretty evident, I think everybody knows, that Erie Coke Plant has sat on their fingers and done nothing to make that property any better. Seeing that, our local folks have decided to put a move on using eminent domain to procure that property and begin intensive cleanup, which will take quite a bit of time. But if we don't do this, the thing will just sit there and continue to fester. And it's not fair to the folks, it's not fair to anybody in the city, but especially to folks who still live in that area. I lost family, I think, basically because of a lot of that garbage that was in the air over the years. And I'm 100% behind them on that. Another thing, the gentleman came in here and started talking about the zoo plan, or the plan to go around the zoo and up Cherry Street and northeast, or wherever the hell they're going with it. Bottom line is, anybody who has followed anything about this active transportation thing knows that I am firmly against the damn thing. If they want to start something, then get the general outline. Give me a pathway on West 38th Street so that when you decide to slap the people on Green Garden, you can at least get to the path. Right now, they're talking about doing a pathway on Green Garden. There's no way to get there on bike. Maybe carry your bike over 38th Street and then you get on the path. This cockamamie plan has nothing to do with city council. Somebody put a video up on, I am the city council person that lives up in Glenwood. And I did tell Urban Engineering I was with them. But as often happens in today's world with people grabbing onto sound bites, they only get a piece of it. I'm with them because I think an action plan is a good idea. But the whole Glenwood thing, totally ridiculous. You know why the people didn't get information? Because they put the mailers across Glenwood Park Avenue and Glenwood Hills. Those are nice people over there, but they have no stake in the plan that they're trying to put over there. The thing is ridiculous. I have been yelling to cease and desist. You know, the bottom line is, we're gonna put these things in, and who is gonna pay? We are gonna pay. It's gonna be maintenance, there's gonna be lighting, and you bet your bottom dollar there's gonna be security. Because there's some areas, anyway, I'm getting on soapbox, I don't need to, but make it very, very clear to everybody out there. I'm not against an active transportation plan, but I want it done right. Look what we have on Prairie Street. If you go up to 14th Street, you can actually drive right off the bike path and into a wall. You saw that, Michael, didn't you? Yeah, right into the wall. All right. I mean, the whole plan. I'm glad PennDOT has money to burn, but don't add our fuel to the fire. Now that I'm done doing that, I think that pretty much handles the situation that I wanted to make clear. Please go out and vote next Tuesday. It's your privilege to do that, not only your right. To get out there and back our city. We have a lot of wonderful things happening. We'll have to talk about those fee increases that the mayor loves so much. But again, he won one, I won one. We'll see what happens this time. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Yeah, I was just encouraging you to speak up last time, because I know all the work you'd put in the previous 2 weeks.
Me thinks you protest too strongly there,
Yeah.
Prezi. That's all.
These guys give me a hard time out there in public asking. I'm like, but he actually did the work. He just didn't tell you. All right. As far as my report, thumbing through the budget here, a little bit in between stuff. Pretty excited. Looking forward to taking a closer look at it. Already spotted a couple nods that the administration gave us to how we've been doing things the last couple years with capital funds and such. I think there's still some more opportunities with revenue replacement, appropriate funds to increase the income, but we got a lot of meetings ahead of us, so I'm looking forward to that. As City Council reorganized the ordinances of ourselves last meeting, I'd really like to see the budget reflect that as fully as we can, so that we have very direct connections to the various departments, and that would be reflected best in the budget, so that we each understand our liaisonships as best we can. I had a couple meetings in the last couple weeks regarding some of my favorite topics. Had some meetings as we've been following up with the apartment association on various housing things and addressing concerns. Last council meeting, one of our developers came in and offered some concerns and criticisms, so I had to follow up with him regarding that. Continuing to try to make sure that that the meetings that are coming up with the staff and administration with housing court really can get smoothed as well as possible. I think that's really, as the budget reflects, a number of the ordinances we passed this year regarding vacancy and foreclosure, rental registration, short-term rental, tenants' rights, quality of life ticketing. Our budget does reflect some more enforcement of that, and so the administration has stepped up to make sure that the execution is matching our legislation, but we still need to get the judicial branch on keeping up with us, and that's going to take some partnerships. As we continue to talk about, as we have the first snowfall of the year, and a clear issue with housing in our city, just want to offer the community some opportunities to personally address their concerns beyond what's necessarily our capacity here on City Council. November 18th, there is Blizzard of Blankets, where our neighbor's place, Upper Room of Erie is collecting blankets and coats that had been at Perry Square for the last number of years, but since COVID, it's now just directly at the same location as the Upper Room, 1024 Peach Street, which is also a church right there across from the downtown YMCA. And they also, our neighbor's place will be opening on November 15th. They will start needing volunteers as soon as November 29th. I know Councilwoman Faulkner and I didn't go back to her. Councilman Faulkner and I are already on the schedule for those next 2 weeks, but if anyone else in the public would be interested in volunteering for a 6:45 to 11 shift or a 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. shift, they can just directly contact me. I'm the volunteer coordinator for those next 2 weeks from November 29th to December 12th, and there's volunteers needed throughout the winter to make sure that our neighbors stay warm. That concludes my report, but I skipped Ms. Faulkner. I don't know if she's zoomed in at that. She's either raising her hand or offering a slap for me to skip her, one or the other. But yes, Ms. Faulkner.
Raising a hand to speak. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who made it possible while I am under the weather to join the meeting today. I really appreciate it. An update on my public safety liaison duties. For the police department, there's going to be an increase in calls for service with 1,253 calls for service last week. This is also showing a steady increase since 2021. And in good news, we are now at 5 weeks with no person shot in the city of Erie. I also attended the water on Thursday 10/19, and all of the large capital improvement projects are moving along really well. I want to echo what Councilman Nelson was saying, President Nelson was saying about the increase in homelessness and the cold weather. Over the last 2 weeks, I've met with and talked to several residents who have become chronically homeless in the last 2 months. Services for our unhoused community are coordinated through the county, not the city. I just want to remind folks of that. For assistance in obtaining any housing services, if you are homeless or know someone who is homeless, please call the Erie County Coordinated Entry System at 814-SHELTER, which is 814-743-5837. Again, that's 814-743-5837. And I'm sorry about I misspoke about going 5 weeks with no one shot. I didn't get the news yet that there was a shooting last night. Very, very sad to hear that for our city. Last reminder, as Councilman Brzezinski mentioned, it is our right, it is our duty to vote. Election day is Tuesday, November 7th. Polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mail-in ballots can be dropped off at the designated ballot box outside of the Erie County Courthouse at 140 West 6th Street. So please be a voter this election. And thank you again, everyone, who helped make it possible for me to join. That's the end of my report, President.
Mr. President,
yes.
Nice job, but I forgot one thing.
Yes.
It's becoming increasingly more prominent, I guess is a good word, But low-income assistance as far as home repairs, the process, whatever that process is at the redevelopment authority, has got to get straightened out. I'm not gonna mention any names, but somebody who is a longtime servant of the city is living basically on Social Security right now and can't get an answer about why he can't get his house fixed. It's confusing to find out what program is there or isn't there, or still isn't there, or will be back, or how much money you can make to get it done. We've got to become much more, the mayor said this morning about being transparent. We have to be much more transparent to help folks like this. I mean, the guy's not asking for a whole bunch. His roof's in trouble, things like this. At least do something more than say, well, look at the internet and see which program you think you might fit into. If he knew what program he fit into, he would go directly to that program. We need somebody there to help these folks get to where they need to get.
Technical support.
Technical support, any kind of help, so that, you know, let them come in there and say, hey, this is my situation, this is how much money I make, please look at my house, and I know the roof is leaking or whatever. You tell them yes or no, but give them an answer. Don't just call 870-1450 and get a whole bunch of stuff that ends up telling you to go look at the internet. Well, surprise, there's techno-morons in this world like me. I can use the internet, but it's not my right hand, because I'm left-handed anyway. I'm done. Thank you.
I second what Ed's saying. Like, a lot of people will get the information, and it's intimidating when you're bombarded with a bunch of new stuff that you don't have any idea about, and then no one there to guide you through the process. So I support us putting in any effort to actually help people make it through the application process, to actually help distribute these funds to our community versus being at the end of the year and having to regenerate back into the city. I mean, that's okay too, but if the funds were originally earmarked for one thing, let's at least make sure we're doing our due diligence to give the community what they should be able to access without all the red tape and technical issues.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so if you live in the East or West Bayfront, they're supposed to have a coordinator that's supposed to help people with this process. We funded them coordinators, I'll say that.
Anything else from council? Teresa? Solicitor? I have none. Renee?
Good morning, everyone. Just a few things. November is a big month for grant deadlines, so we're going to be working on several grant submissions this month, as well as preparing for the budget sessions. We're also working with the CRIS Authority Board on preparing the various elements of the application. We're also getting ready to send the city's annual calendar to print. We're in the final steps of that, so that will be mailed out to all houses in the city in December. I wanted to give everyone a heads up that Downtown Delights, which is run by the Erie Downtown Partnership and sponsored by UPMC Hammett, will be taking place on Friday, December 1st from 5 to 9 p.m. in and around Perry Square. There will also be some Harry T. Burley events that will be occurring that week, and so we will be providing an update on that in November. We're currently working through the flagship grants. We had over 100 submissions, and so we hope to be announcing those soon. We continue to work on Erie supportive housing. We have several meetings this month in preparation for the winter season and in the development of a strategy for housing for scattered sites actually around Erie County. We, of course, will be focused on city locations. And that's all I have for today.
And with that, the meeting is adjourned.